Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal. Beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Upashama Prakarana, and we are in section 24. Sage Vasishtha relates a parable or spiritual episode to Rama. The episode is always meant for only one purpose: liberation, moksha. In that story, Bali, very famous king in the Puranas, for whom Lord descended in the form of a dwarf, Vamana. Bali, in a storyline, has developed vairagya, dispassion, towards all worldly enjoyments. And in that process of reflection, a recollection entered his heart. How he had listened to the teachings of his father, Virochana. And all the teaching was there within his unconscious. And presently, he suddenly begins to recall those teachings. Prince Bali asked, "O mighty father," now in that, while he recalls, he remembers that when he presented his problem about the world and about the goal of life, father gave a parable, a story. Because if you are very small, you see, you need to get stories. And the story was about a great king, supremely powerful. And his minister has amazing power. The minister, by his magical power, creates the entire kingdom under the umbrella of the king. And in order to meet the king, shake hands with him, you have to go through the minister. Without defeating the minister, you cannot realize that king. That's the instead of keeping you in suspense. The country, royal country that he is referring to is moksha, liberation. The king in this story is Brahman, the absolute. And the minister of the king is mind, created by Brahma's magical power. King Virochana replied to, "O child," that's the old recollection, Bali is remembering, "this minister is unvanquishable, but there is a method by which he can be controlled and subjugated. Maneva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. Mind is the cause of bondage and release." Having listened to it, don't start looking for bricks and sticks to beat the mind. I'm joking, but the idea is mind cannot be vanquished by normal concept of fighting and winning. The method is vichar. Vichar and vivek, the discriminative understanding. That's the method by which you conquer the mind. And then you meet Brahman. And meeting again is not two persons meeting, a revelation. I am Brahman. If you adopt right spiritual inquiry into who am I, this minister can be easily conquered. As long as your mental process is not focused upon discovering I am, who am I? Until then, your mind goes on creating a constant web, www, website. Who, where, why? Wait, wonder, and for what? Lots of www. But when your focus becomes, who am I? Now you will begin to move away from the website. And this relates to Upanishadic statement, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. All this world is interesting because the most profoundly real for you is your own identity. Put it another way, the most lovable, the source of all your love is the self. And once you discover that self, you don't need this entire world. But due to ignorance, you are urged to discover the self. But due to ignorance, you are entering into www website. And website can Google up so many things. But nothing is substantial. Try it. get all the spices and all the nutritional foods from the website. Look them. And look at your kitchen. Nothing comes there. Nothing substantial. I'm joking, but the idea is to understand that all that your mind grasps, and mind feels so joyous, that's the whole story of mind. All that is transient, little, and illusory, just like in a dream. Dream is a rehearsal of what you experience in your daily life. In dream, subject of the dream, your identity is not real. People around you and your relatives and friends, they are not real. And your experiences of pleasure and pain, all sorts of mental experience caused by desires and fulfillment, all that is not real. And yet, as long as you are dreaming, that question doesn't enter your mind. You are not bothered by the idea, all this is unreal. However, in order to when you wake up, there are two ways of waking up. Even while dreaming, sometimes due to great sattva, you begin to develop an awareness that this is a dream. Once you have that type of sense, the dream experience doesn't stop. Even in your dream, you are climbing steps and slipping down from the step, torturing your toes. That goes on. But at the same time, as if you are looking at it with an objective view, that this is not me. The steps climbing, that's not real. It's a dream. Once you come to that type of dream, that is the illustration for being enlightened. If you are enlightened, the world doesn't stop. But in your deeper level, that world is not going to touch and create even a little scratch. You are unscratched, unscathed. So, who am I? That's inquiry. The mind has somehow to grasp that point, that instead of keeping all your attention about so many things of past, present, future, can't you give attention to who am I? And simple guideline, you are not the physical body, your physical body is your instrument. You are not the senses. You are not even the brain and nervous system. You are not even the energy that goes through the brain in the form of your mind. All these are like instruments. And the I is as if using all these. It's a big iPad. You have a small iPad for your practical use. And big iPad uses your entire brain and nervous system. And now therefore the curiosity, who is this I am? You can't find that I am in this world of www. Can't find interesting things. Can keep you absorbed year after year, birth after birth. There's no dearth. But who am I? That is the point that mind must come to discover. This is the central core of the purpose of your existence. Until this is realized by you, you are going into the www in an endless manner. You must find the king. And by doing so, this minister is automatically controlled. Find the king means find who am I. Find Brahman. And if you find Brahman, the mind, which is most difficult to control, comes under the control in a very smooth way. If you are dreaming, while dreaming, controlling the world of your dream is extremely difficult. But when you wake up, begin to wake up, controlling the entire dream becomes just a childish matter. Similarly, if you wake up to your real identity, then the controlling this entire dream created by your mind is extremely kid stuff. He who finds the king becomes the king himself. All that statement, realize God, attained God realization, be united with Brahman, all these are allegorical statements. You don't unite, you don't find Brahman. In the process of doing that, there is a revelation, I am Brahman. So all statements are only, the reality behind them is revelation. In your dream, someone will say to you, look, this whole dream is painful. Why can't you find who are you? You can't find who are you in your dream. Anything that you want to find, you have to work for it very hard. But the entire dream moves away, and you don't even say, I have found myself. The question of finding yourself doesn't arise. So, try to bring in these points to understand what is God realization. God realization, the revelation of the truth. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. For very easy understanding, all souls are like reflected suns in different jars of water. Water is mind. Every jiva, the same Brahman, shining in different mental processes. Same Brahman. So, whoever I am, the same you are. The same is your pet. More surprisingly, the same is everything in this world. All names and forms. Because when you say everything, people start. But all the everything, etc., is in the realm of your perception. They are not realities. So this is all about, I'm leading you, how to find the king. How to find the ruler of the entire world of yours, which is being done by your mind under Brahman. So in order to get out of the mental mind's control, you have to meet Brahman. And now you have to work two ways. You have to bribe the mind. And invite Brahman. Simple way of saying, you have to control your mind using Raj Yoga methods, the whole yogic science, how to control the mind. Use all the methods, what known as sadhana. But while you are doing your sadhana, invoke Brahman through upasana, bhakti. And bhakti has itself many stages. But basically, and the highest way of invoking Brahman is to understand, who am I? And both are interrelated. Controlling the mind and realizing Brahman. Control the mind and realize Brahman. Realize Brahman, you will control the mind. How many times I have to say that? The realization of the king depends upon the mastery over the minister. And the mastery over the minister depends upon the realization of the king. These two are interdependent. Therefore, you must endeavor towards both. This can be done by your persistent self-effort. And that's called purushartha, self-effort of an aspirant. Controlling the mind and realizing Brahman. The father continues, says, "Oh dear prince, let me explain the true meaning behind this parable. The country that I described is the state of liberation, moksha, which is the goal of every individual soul. The self, who is the only reality behind all names and forms, the self, same as Brahman, the absolute self, is the only reality behind all names and forms. That self is the king. Mind is the minister of the king and controls the world process experienced by every soul. So all the world you experience is through the minister mind. Every soul is essentially the king, but has forgotten its essential nature and is therefore constantly tortured by the minister. If you don't realize Brahman, then minister is very fanciful and full of vanity and enjoys torturing you. Takes you to the gardens of sorrow. And sorrow has many variations. When the mind is conquered, all is conquered. See what Raja Yoga describes, maneva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. Mind is the cause of bondage and release. Desirelessness is the magical method of conquering the mind. Important to understand that mind becomes a heavy burden, as it were, a towering demon. The idea when you are told, control your mind, and it becomes, and then you look at your mind, control it. It's an impossibility. But the key behind controlling the mind is don't go after desires. Desires led by your ego, what's known as kama, kamana, desires. As long as you are driven by desire, there is bondage, there is world process. In this, when you attain enlightenment, a revelation, I am Brahman, this is a state of absolute extinction of desire. The term is used, nirvana, or absolute fulfillment, param tripti. Though it is a difficult art to develop desirelessness, yet it has to be developed in order to attain mastery over the mind. You say it's very difficult. But then the answer is, if you want to master the mind, you have to do it. What seems to be difficult becomes easy by repeated effort. So abhyasa has to enter. But prior to abhyasa, you have to be brought into satsanga. Satsanga, good association, where you listen to spiritual teachings, where you are presented with spiritual insights, and allowing yourself to practice the same things again and again. That's abhyasa. Abhyasa is, if you have listened, listen it again and again. You repeat a mantra, repeat it again and again. If you enjoy walking in the morning, walk again and again. Abhyasa. Repeated effort. If you take a medicine, you have to go on taking it again and again. And abhyasa itself has its rules. Satu dirgha kal, When you do abhyasa for attaining enlightenment, don't set a time limit that I am going to worship God or repeat mantra and do prayer for a month. If he is not pleased, I know he is not ready to have me. So, don't put a time limit when you start doing your sadhana, japa, meditation, whatever sadhana you have planned. Nairantarya, second point, which means it should be uninterrupted. You are doing sadhana. Do not develop in your mind a foxy calculation. That today I will do 1 hour of sadhana, and tomorrow and day after no sadhana, then next time I will do 3 hours. So I will make up. So that's the right way to go. Sadhana has to be day by day. Just like with medicines. Doctor tells you this whole file you have to take in 7 days. And now you decide, why not take it one day, all of it, and be free from 7-day calculation. Or why not take it 4 of them one day, 2 or 3 days later, 3 of them. I'm just joking, but trying to make you understand that it has to be done in a precision, with perfect precision. And final aspect, abhyasa has to be done satkara sevito. You should not do it with a mind that does not welcome your sadhana. You are doing sadhana, but you are thinking sadhana is like a fox. And we are taming the fox. In other words, you don't have the good view about your sadhana. You are doing it with a sense of helplessness. What can I do? I have to do these mantras in order, otherwise I will not pass the examination. But what I am describing is the ideal. But to reach the ideal, many mistakes are committed by people, but they have to always understand or continue to persist to maintain the ideal. So, abhyasa required, sasu dirgha kal, no time limit, nairantarya, it should not be interrupted, and satkar sevito, which means you do it with a divine feeling. Therefore, O son, practice repeated effort and conquer the mind. Repeated effort must also be joined with vairagya. Vairagya is dispassion. Vairagya is increasing detachment. When mind is fascinated by pleasures of the senses, that fascination must wane. That's the movement of Vairagya. Repeated effort and increasing dispassion. Also to understand, success in your abhyasa means you are developing Vairagya. And if you are developing Vairagya, that is the secret of allowing your abhyasa to be perfected. Abhyasa and Vairagya, they become supplement, complement. There is nothing in the world that cannot be acquired by right self-effort. For all problems of life and for attaining liberation, self-effort is your first movement. Focus on self-effort. Don't tell others, look, I'm going to attain enlightenment. Go to Badri Kedara, give you all the money, and duck in that water 10 times for me. People do that also, but doesn't matter. I'm not. In other words, liberation is to be attained by your self-effort, but not by the effort of others. It's called self-effort, it's not others' effort. An aspirant should not surrender himself to a fictitious destiny which has no existence. Also, you should not stay in kindergarten, always looking at astrological chart, when the good days will come, and when the Rahu Dasha or a certain negative planetary condition will move away. Rather, develop a different type of understanding. Whatever situation you are facing in life is prompting you to do self-effort. And self-effort is always meaningful, not in vain. So therefore, if you are facing adversity, troubles, disease or whatsoever, your self-effort implies leave no stone unturned in dealing with your situation. Use your practical sense and guidance from others, etc. But don't stop your movement with the idea that when a particular negative karma is over, it automatically will move away. Until then, what can I do? Surrender to it. That attitude should not be there. Yes, surrender to God, that's wonderful. But surrender to God doesn't mean you stop your actions. Surrender to God to receive more insight, more energy to handle your problem. Another point, success, people generally define success as a result of good karma. You are very fortunate. Good fortune. But that should not enter your mind. You are the architect of your destiny. Do not surrender to a fictitious destiny which has no existence. All things being Maya, the idea of your destiny is as false as the idea that you are the body. Should take recourse to self-effort in order to master the mind and realize the self. Self-effort directed towards mastering the mind and attaining liberation. Simple words, be a yogi. O son, by the exercise of dispassion and repeated practice of spiritual inquiry, you will develop distaste for the enjoyments of the world. The distaste term shouldn't be taken literally. Rather, you will enjoy it. Your taste will be very keen. But your taste will not trigger your ego. It will trigger God within you. Two types of taste. Worldly taste, mundane taste, that doesn't care for your understanding, reasoning. Simply, if intellect wants to understand, and should take Shakti. If you are going for a pleasure trip, and intellect says, think about it first. Go into details. And then you look at the people who are inviting you, and look at the tickets they are showing to you, they have already bought for you. I'm joking, but the idea is, now you are simply swept by the emotion of pleasure. But the taste now you have in that pleasure is always restricted by many consequences that your mind knows what will happen. You are drinking a lot, you know what will happen after. So, you are not really enjoying pure taste. But when you turn towards the spiritual movement, your actions become more and more guided by your intellect. And intellect gains more and more purity as you go into sadhana. Now the enjoyments that you have, they are not keeping your mind into shallow level. In other words, first stage of enjoyment, you become attached to people, physical attachment, emotional attachment, expectational attachment, many types of attachment. And those attachments, they limit your joy. When you have a spiritual movement, You are not being attached to the body, mind, and people around you. You're becoming attached to God within every individual. I'm saying all this very quickly, but simple point to understand, there is a difference between sentimental love and more maturer and profounder love. Relationship may develop, always develops in early stage, but your love must overcome moha, delusional level. The climax comes when the love becomes love of God in each other. When human love rises to that level, that any form of love you are experiencing as if you are being touched by the finger of God. But there are many stages leading to that. Once you are in that process, that's divine movement. This distaste, the term distaste means now no longer sentimental love. Sentimental love is like a mirage, no longer going after mirage. Go after real Raj. Swaraj. So this distaste means no longer going after a mirage. Blooms like a lotus in your heart. Now your heart has all the nourishment of real love blossoms. Moha type of love is more like a frost coming over the petals. Moha moves away, sunshine comes over your petals of your heart, and heart blossoms. But the process, again, is progressive. You don't suddenly get all of it. This is what you need to, and become involved in a spiritual way of life. In the beginning, when the mind is immature, one should spend 2 parts of the day in attending to the needs of the body, 1 part of to the service of the spiritual preceptor, and 4th part to the study of scriptures. It's mathematics now. This is a figurative language. First stage, 2 parts of the day attending body. Your sadhana is focused on how to discipline your body, practice of asanas, pranayams, and all that. Your body has to be rendered fit. So, greater attention you are giving to train your body according to the methods of yoga. One part, Guru Seva. Now, Guru Seva means being under the guidance of Guru, you are receiving guidance, satsanga, and also your energy is being channelized in a special way. Old time Gurukul meant you went to the Guru's ashram, and the ashram used to have many animals, cows and sheep, etc. And the disciple, in the name of Guru Seva, served all those animals, etc. But you must realize that apart from ordinary way of understanding, it's allegorical. The animals, especially the cows that exist in the ashram, they are the Upanishadic literature. Those Upanishadic literature take them into proper pasture, develop them, and the milk that comes out of it, share it with people. Try to understand, it means jnana yajna. What you learn from the Guru, share. And that's the best dakshina. So that's called Guru Seva. And one part, Swadhyaya. Continue to go deep into this, listening to Guru's teachings and trying to understand and studying scriptures. That should dominate your interest in daily life. Now, come to another stage. In the first stage, major part of your daily life was to prepare your body. The second stage, the first stage was 2 parts, second stage only 1 part. If you have put your body already in healthy order, you don't have to constantly give all the time to your body. And now increase Guru Seva double, 2 parts. And the last part, instead of studying scriptures, start assimilating it. Instead of gathering cauliflowers, etc., you start eating it. Be more focused on eating, understanding what you have read, and assimilating it. That's called manan. And the third stage, whole plan is now in 4 parts. 2 part, 50% manan and vichar, reflecting within yourself, blended with vairagya, dispassion. And the other half, service and meditation. Service means you are doing good deeds. When you do good deeds, your meditation is simultaneously going on. You don't divide it, that now I'm going to do 3 hours meditation and 3 hours good deed. Your good deed and meditation, they become all so spontaneous that sometimes you are doing more meditation while you are sharing the knowledge. So understand that type of thing. So this is not ordinary mathematics. Let a person acquire wealth by righteous means. Then instead of wasting his wealth in seeking the pleasures of the senses, he should utilize it in seeking the company of the wise. Here now this point is to understand your 4 purposes of life. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Your self-effort is directed towards making your life purposeful, not purposeless. And how does it happen? Foundation is dharma. And this mantra is be good, do good. Very foundation of your movement should allow your mind to focus on the importance of virtuous qualities, the importance of moral values, ethical values. If ethical value itself is being contradicted, all that you gain will be of no use. So first is dharma, ethical value. Next, artha, material value. How much material possession? That's no limit. You can have any amount, as long as it's founded on dharma. Because then you are going to utilize your material resources in a profound way. And the next level, kama, called vital value. The qualitative way you are interacting with your family, with your friends, with people, that qualitative interaction, that's called kama. And final, moksha, the infinite value of life. And with this I will conclude. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukum Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritam Gamaya Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Hari Om.